with their guy, one of the mantelpieces of what this football team is going to have success with if they get him in the locker room. And I'm gonna tell you this, I feel like this, man, and as much as it hurts me to say this, because I don't want to see Micah in another uniform, somebody got to stand on business. One of these players got to stand on business and finally say, nah, I ain't gonna conduct business this way. You're not doing right by me. Like these other franchises that we looking at paying these guys and getting negotiations done and deals done. And one thing I want to reiterate before we leave, in that what Michael wrote, he called Jerry Jones a snake. I don't know if anybody interpreted it that way, but he said we had a meeting and he left as if we were negotiating a deal without talking to my agent. He said, you tried to snake me. He didn't say that verbatim, but that is what I contextualized when Jerry supposedly thought that they had a negotiation done or they started to negotiate. So if Micah is dug in, kudos to you, bro. I hate to see you go. I would love for you to be a Dallas Cowboy as long as possible because you're a phenomenal player. But at some point, Jerry and Steven is going to mess with the wrong one. And they're going to stand on business for real and not show up to play games. Now, money is going to fix it, and eventually he'll break. Maybe that's the case. Maybe Micah Parsons is doing this for a negotiating tactic. But if he's not, I'm telling y'all right now, I'm in Dallas. These fans acted a fool with the Dallas Mavericks when Luka Doncic was let go because they thought that was the face of their franchise. This is an inflection point for the Dallas Cowboys, their business practices, and how they've been doing things. If this young man decides, I'm going to be that one player that don't just go with the regular rigmarole and accept the contract and go back and play with the Cowboys, I'm going to request a trade and stand on it until they make a move to move me out of the way.
Just because you pay someone's salary doesn't mean you get to treat people like commodities. And I feel like that's the lesson we have learned time and time again from the way the Dallas Cowboys do business. And think about what Jerry Jones just did this offseason. Brand new coaching staff. What is this doing to Brian Schottenheimer? What is this doing to Matt Eberflus? Matt Eberflus has said, Mike is a premier pass rusher. We're going to use him that way. Not going to use him if you don't have him this year. And it's only fracturing what could have been and what should be a training camp where you're focused on moving past injuries, moving past the 7 and 10 season from a year ago. Why do you try to muddy the waters with more drama when it could have been prevented?
It makes it so difficult for everyone. And yeah, you're right. These players are not putting up with being treated this way. All right, Adam, final word. Where does this go next? What's your prediction?
Well, let me just say that, again, we've seen the Cowboys do this, Laura. They did it with the face of their franchise, the quarterback, Dak Prescott. They franchise tagged him twice. He was the Walter Payton Man of the Year nominee and winner. They made him wait. So if they do it for the quarterback, of course, they could do it for the great young defensive player. But right now, we've got a number of outstanding trade requests. And as tantalizing as it is for everybody to talk about, this has been what Jerry Jones has enjoyed in previous offseasons. He doesn't mind waiting. He doesn't mind the drama. He doesn't mind the headlines. He doesn't mind that ultimately it costs him more money in the end. Ultimately, in the end, he gets it done. And Big Swaggo, you brought up Myles Garrett. Could anybody have taken a stronger stand against his franchise only to have it flip a couple of months later to sign a deal that made him the highest paid non-quarterback in football? Do you think Jerry Jones is going to want to trade Micah Parsons? No. I've got teams across the league, fans from them texting me, are we going to get Micah Parsons? Are we going to get... Jerry Jones, I would think, is not open to trading Micah Parsons right now. That doesn't mean that later this summer he couldn't revisit it. But I would imagine Jerry Jones still wants to try to win a Super Bowl. Micah Parsons is going to give him the best chance to win a Super Bowl. And we've seen any number of players come out, take strong stands against their franchises, from Deebo Samuel to T. Higgins to Brandon Ayuk to Myles Garrett. Not to say that a trade can't get done, but usually, more often than not, it doesn't.
Okay, quick, Marcus.
Boogie.
Yeah?
Boogie, Shefty, you're absolutely right. But guess what, Shefty? Go back to 2024, you was on here saying the same thing. Go back to 2023. You was on here saying the same thing. And the point is that it affects the team. That's all I want people to understand.
Well, yes,
yeah, you get paid, you get your money. This is what Jerry does. It affects the team when they play football. And that is the frustration with these fans.
Well, I'm not going to argue that. I mean, it's been in the results. We've seen what Dallas has done the last couple of seasons, right?
Right, and that's not what Cowboys fans, and I would assume Jerry Jones wants to see happen anyway. All right, we're going to be on this all show long.
I just wish Swag would tell passionately about this.
I know. Well, he wasn't going to lose it, but then he did, and we're really glad that he did. We're just getting started on NFL Live. I know, it does. It makes us all left tackle, and Josh Simmons, the Chiefs' first-round pick this year out of Ohio State, incredibly talented. Maybe the injury is what allowed him to not be drafted earlier, but he seems healthy. Former tackle Kingsley Suamatea will move over to left guard, and the other three positions remain unchanged for last year, but should be improved, right? So we welcome in our Chiefs reporter, Nate Taylor. Nate, what sticks out to you about the Chiefs' revamped offensive line so far throughout camp?
What sticks out to me right now, Laura, is that the Chiefs have an optimum situation as we are taking this right now, about 2 weeks through training camp. Now, Joshua Simmons, the talented rookie from Ohio State, was projected to be maybe the top offensive tackle to be taken in the draft had he not been injured. Well, he's rehabbed every single day since the moment the Chiefs took him with the 32nd pick. And I even asked him today in his first interview with reporters at training camp, how often are you rehabbing? And it's days off. It's maybe even twice a day. The Chiefs have loved what he has shown so far in terms of his durability, his strength, and even on the hottest day of training camp on Tuesday, we're talking over 100 degrees. Josh Simmons performed very well against veteran pass rushers such as George Karlaftis, Mike Dana, and Charles Omenihu. So for right now, Josh Simmons is the projected starter at left tackle. He will be the new blindside protector for Patrick Mahomes, with Kingsley Suamatea to be on track to be the left guard. And even though they signed Jaylen Moore in the offseason in free agency, he will now look to be the first backup in case something goes wrong with the offensive line. But the Chiefs love what they see from Josh Simmons so far, and Patrick Mahomes could have more protection than he had at any point last year from that left tackle position.
Yeah, I know people are like, left tackle is such an important position. Do you really want a rookie there? Josh Simmons really is the real deal. So I love the context that you gave there. Thanks so much for joining us. All right, we welcome Bill Barnwell into our group with Courtney and Kevin here. Bill, I'm going to go to you first. Do you think the Chiefs made the right moves to fix their O-line?
It's risky, right? I mean, they had to make a change. Left tackle was a mess for them last year with Suamatea and Wanya Morris struggling. But I can't think of a less experienced blind side of your offensive line protecting a Hall of Famer in a year where a team's trying to compete for a Super Bowl. It's not just Josh Simmons left tackle, and I agree with you, Laura. That's a very talented player, a really promising rookie. But move to left guard. Kingsley Suamatea has one career start at left guard. He didn't play left guard in college. He did not play left guard last year until the very end of the season. Jaylen Moore, who they've brought in, who they've said is going to be their kind of utility player. Well, he's never played in the NFL start of the game at left guard. So you're looking at a left side of the line where maybe, ideally, they've combined for one career NFL start at their respective positions. I'm not saying it's not going to work because I trust Andy Reid, I trust Andy Heck, I trust the Chiefs' offensive staff. But gosh, it is risky when you have a Hall of Famer in the prime of his career where any year you don't win the Super Bowl is a disappointment.
Yeah, I worry about, there's so much shuffling on the left side of the offensive line. They tried Suamatea at left tackle. That didn't work out, so they're trying to have him replace Joe Thuney, who was a huge part of the interior of this offensive line last few years. It's Joe Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith. 85% of the team's offensive plays over the last 4 years, those three have been intact. It's a problem when you take away your perennial all-pro left